Hey everybody, what's up? It is Broman. We are back with episode 18 of Ask Broman. It is Friday, December 8th. Oh my gosh, the year is flying by, and we have our first return guest.
Hello.
After great requests from everyone who tuned in last time and requests on Twitter and Twitch and the podcast, everybody has wanted Tim to come back. So this is Tim. Hi, Tim.
Hey, it me.
It Tim.
It me.
Darkness429. Again, in case this is someone's first time listening, if you want to just do a quick rundown on who you are, and then we'll just get right into the questions, because that's what we're going to do.
Sure. Hey guys, I'm Tim, also known as Darkness429 in the Twitch sphere. I've been streaming on Twitch for almost 4 years now. Full-time broadcaster. I like to play a lot of shooter games. Play a lot of Fortnite, things like that. And met Broman through Destiny and playing PUBG and Fortnite and stuff like that. So it's good to be back.
And now we're best friends, and we're gonna answer
besties,
questions.
And we drank last night. And
oh my god, yeah! Tim, guys, if you don't know, Tim came over to my friend Corey's house, and we all watched the Video Game Awards and streamed that, and it was fucking hilarious.
It was a good time.
It was really.
I wish I lived closer so we could do that like every weekend.
Oh, it'd be incredible. We all just need to get, just teleport machines is what we need. Is just teleport machines. Yeah. So let's grab our first person in here. I'm trying to see if there's anyone who's been bugging me on Twitter lately. I don't think so. So we're just gonna grab this guy right here. This is your guy Connor.
You got Connor.
Hi Connor, what's up? What can we do for you today, my dude? Oh man, Connor's maybe experiencing technical difficulties. Have you ever experienced technical difficulties, Tim?
All the time, dude. That's the worst.
Yeah. What do you
either like a capture card or
when I have technical difficulties, what I like to do is I like to check to make sure that my microphone is turned on.
Which it might be now.
Ta-da!
I'm so sorry about that, guys.
That's okay, Connor. We'll just edit it out, and I'll just replace it with me screaming obscenities at you. It'll be really funny.
Hey, congrats on World Second today.
Oh, thanks, bud.
Yeah, and I miss you, Tim. I think we all miss Tim. Just letting you know.
I'm glad that everybody misses Tim. That's an important part of becoming an adult, is learning how to miss Tim. So what can we do for you today, Connor?
My question is going to be at you, Broman, mostly.
Okay.
Just kind of a little business question, if that's all right.
Yeah, all right.
So when it came to King's Coast, which one of you were like on the toilet and then just suddenly thought fucking coffee?
Well, I mean, like it's actually a really interesting, like, longer process story, right? So, part of this story actually involves one of Tim's sponsors, which is Madrina's. Madrina's sort of started operating in the Twitch space, and it kind of got coffee on our radar as something that people were interested in. And Madrina's had to really, they have an approach that's focused on, they do this canned coffee, and they do like special micro roasting stuff. And then we realized that there's no good coffee by us. And when I say we, I mean Kevin, our business manager. So he was literally just drinking a cup of like Dunkin' Donuts in the morning, and he was like, "This is fucking piss." and then he was like, "Oh shit, I know, Pete, who's our roaster." He's like, "Hey Pete, do you want to make a coffee company?" And then Wayne, who's in that group chat, was like, "Hey motherfucker, I would love to help you make coffee because I'm a chef." So that's sort of how it all came about. That's from the business side of things. I mean, it was just like, as funny as it is like, and I think this is why companies like King's Coast and Madrina's are doing well right now, is because like they're like people like coffee, right?
Yes.
But
exactly.
There are like two barriers. Like either you want really good coffee and you live in like a rural area or a suburban area, and there's just no shops. They don't exist. The closest coffee shop to my house that serves like high quality stuff is 45 minutes away. And I live outside of Tampa, so it's not like this wretched, insane drive,
I feel, yeah.
Yeah. And then, there's, and this is Madrina's focus is on this, is they have a convenience factor. So they do everything. They do really high quality canned stuff. So as saturated as everybody thinks like the coffee market in particular is, because Starbucks exists. Everyone's like, oh, well, it's a Starbucks, so I'll just do Starbucks. I think that one of the big changes that's happening currently is people really want to get something that they connect with. So if you want high quality coffee, you want that. Like Starbucks is like a compromise point for everybody on coffee, or like Dunkin' Donuts. But I think people have preferences outside of that, which was sort of a secondary motivator because we saw other people doing it, like Black Rifle Coffee Company and Sumpton, which is another cold brew. That's how I found out about them. There's a lot of different people that are doing like sort of really focused products when it comes to the coffee world. And Madrina's is another example with their canned stuff. There's so many people doing these focused like cook downs of like, this is, we are the best X kind of coffee you can get. And then everyone who wants that's going to buy it.
And it's like a lot from the north, because I'm in Southern California, so all that like Washington and Oregon like cafe style stuff is starting to drain a lot down south towards me.
Yeah.
And I think that's like that little niche is starting to like become something bigger than what it was before.
I mean, absolutely. The other thing that's interesting right now is people really like to have a personality associated with whatever it is they're consuming, and this is like some next level shit. But there's a reason why big companies, and this goes into gaming as well, use social media and social media influencers to market their products, because for one reason or another, companies don't really have any rapport anymore. Companies are sort of looked at like, okay, yeah, you say your shit's good, but whatever, fuck you. Like, you have to. And then so when you cook it down a little bit more and you have people who genuinely enjoy your product and you're willing to, spend your ad money to have them represent you, it goes so much further. That's why companies like on Twitch, the other coffee company that is really heavy on Twitch is Madrina's. Like, that's why they do that, because it's effective. And G Fuel is another example of a company that solely built on direct to consumer, focusing on social media influencers, and they built their whole brand on that.
It's like it's finding that that audience and knowing where to exactly like connect with them. Like,
I mean, and
influencers,
that's like the magic and the hard work of learning how to use like a social media influencer. Like, and I've learned all of this by being the person that gets the contact, and I'm sure Tim's learned a lot of business sense as well by being contacted by companies saying, hey, would you represent us? Do you have any like insight from the contracts and things that you've worked on, Tim, when it comes to like social media stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's I feel like they're still trying to figure out how to utilize to or like maximize our reach on certain platforms. Like, there's certain things that I like find kind of weird. Like my Hot Pockets promotions that I did, like they wanted me to do Instagram stories. Like, they found like Instagram stories were more meaningful than just a Twitter post with a picture. I guess just because of like moving video, like motion picture, like they found that just like it had better impact with the reach. So yeah, I mean, like I think people are still just trying to figure out like how to better utilize our reach on different platforms. So like I feel like influencers as a whole, like they're still trying to figure out how to what to do with us. We're still very much so in an unknown space.
Yeah, I mean,
awesome, guys.
Yeah, it's new and different. So that's maybe a little bit more than you were bargaining for, but that's the whole decision making process boiled down for you.
Yeah, I'm a business admin major, so all this stuff is just like it's gold to me. I love learning about this stuff. So thank you guys.
That's good. I mean, it's good that you're willing to learn and do something a little bit different. It'll make you a really big asset to whatever company you join. So you're on a good path.
Exactly. Thank you guys.
Oh man, anytime. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you so much.
Have a great rest of your day, dude.
You too.
I'm glad that he missed you. That was important to me.
I still don't understand how this is just taken off. Like,
I don't know either.
What a weird meme.
I don't know, man. That's the internet, dude. That's why it's so magical. Yeah, Tim, I legit have a question for you though. Have you thought about like starting your own fucking like IRL side hustle off of all the?
It's hard not to think about it when I know people like you and Goth. I mean, like seeing like what you guys are able to do. I mean, like I just don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the whole
hard
thing.
part.
Like, and we had talked about this a little bit last night of the whole what happens, like what's the end game? You know, what's going to happen? What are you going to do when streaming's done? Like at some point it has to come to an end. This isn't going to last forever.
Everything finishes.
So then what do you do? I mean, like, do I go back and do what I was originally doing at school, or do I take all my skill sets and abilities that I've learned and grown with here on Twitch? And I don't know. It's still definitely much in the back of my mind where it needs to be. It definitely something I need to think about constantly, because I mean, this could all explode tomorrow. It could all. It could explode away.
It could. I did like a little quickie on the podcast where I was talking about, because this subject's come up a few times and everyone's like, well, then what do you do? And I think that one of the best things you can do if you're in the planning stages of like your beginning content creation or whatever the fuck it is, whether you're starting a business or you're being an entrepreneur or you're going to a new job, like you need to plan to succeed. And when you're in content creation, I think planning to succeed is first of all expecting to, and then knowing what to do after it happens, so you're not kind of caught flat-footed when the success comes and then you're like, well, what now?
Right.
Because if you're caught like that, it's going to take a lot of, there's two reasons. Like one, you want to be ready for when things end. But two, like if you're wasting mental energy and time trying to figure out, well, what now, instead of just trying to make the best content that you can, it's going to slow you down. Like you'll hit a slow down point, which is not something anybody wants.
Yeah. It's hard. But it's also like, I mean, like, I'm definitely guilty of it. Like I got caught up in the thrill of it all. You know, definitely you get caught up in the moment of like, oh, this is going really, really well. Like, this is great. And honestly, I wish I would have put more thought earlier into the what happens next after this.
Yeah, the logistics and
right, exactly. And so that's where I feel like I'm kind of playing catch up right now, as to what do I do next?
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Want everyone to avoid that. All right, let's get King DZ in here. He's got a spooky skull thing. I was like, are you scared right now? What if he's a warlock? What do we do?
Well, then
what
yo. I would love to say I know a warlock.
Hi, what's up, King DZ? How you doing?
Dude.
What's up, man? How are you?
I am wonderful. What can Tim and I do for you today?
Man, first off, I wanted to say thank you, because I've been watching your stream ever since D1.
Thank you.
You actually inspired me to start streaming myself. And with
That's
the
cool.
affiliate program, I actually, kind of went full-fledged with it, and I just received my first payout. So I wanted to say thank you for that.
Oh, that's fucking awesome,
dude.
man.
Congratulations.
And I guess my question for you guys, it's a two-part question. Number one is I've always suffered with anxiety. And I've had this issue lately where I start getting quite a few people in chat and then I freeze because I've got so many eyes on me at one time.
Okay.
And it's really hard for me to focus on what I'm doing or continue, and I start thinking, what do I do next? What if I, what is my gameplay gonna, what if my gameplay suffers? Do I look stupid in front of these people? Stuff like that. And then the second part of the question is, and I know you know about this, Broman, here lately, my internet's been taking a huge dump on me.
Oh yeah.
And
that's always fun.
What the hell do I do about that? Especially when I've got these, that kind of goes in with the anxiety thing is, what if I've got all these people and then my internet takes a dump on me and I lose connection? What do I say? What do I do?
There's a lot of anxiety there. Yeah. I understand that. Okay. Well, first of all, I think one of the great things about performing, which is, part of Twitch, you're on live streaming, you're on a stage, is getting used to being human in front of other humans, if that makes any sense. Like all of us fuck up, all of us make mistakes. So you have to get used to being a human. Like you're going to not do the best every single moment of your day. And that's fine. And you shouldn't, that's one of the ways that's just the way that I think. So I never really got into a point when I was broadcasting where I had a lot of anxiety because I was just like, everybody fucks up.
It's a good attitude.
Yeah, that's my advice there. I'm really curious as to what what Tim might have to say about that.
So I mean, like for me, like I definitely remember there was I had gotten I think the first time I had gotten over 100 viewers. I remember seeing that view count and like I was freaking out. And like and it's hard not to think about the people that are watching and like do they like me for what I'm doing. And I think I finally got to a point where I had to not really care about that and think about the people that are they're there watching me because they enjoy me for some reason or another. Not trying to figure out ways to impress them, but to realize that I've already impressed them with something that I've already done, whether it's my gameplay or my personality or something that has happened in stream. And so I got to the point where it's just like I'm just hanging out with my friends, and I always like tried to think that like the way that I am in on stream is the way that I'm going to be in person if you and I were hanging out and having a cup of coffee.
Right.
Or if I was to walk up to, if you were to walk up to me at PAX East, that I would have the same conversation with 100 of you or 1,000 of you, the same way I would have a conversation with you on stream. And so like that's the way that I think of it, is just like I'm not trying to really put on like a crazy show so much as I'm just trying to just hang out and have a good time. And that's always the vibe that I've tried to facilitate when I'm streaming is just we're just having a good time. We're just hanging out and we're just being buds.
Hell yeah.
And just I think if you focus more on that and just have a good time and laugh and you're whatever you're bringing to the table. I'm not sure what kind of games you stream or what your niche is, but if you just really just own that and have a good time with that, then your audience I think will feed off of that more than you like trying to really go out of the way and impress them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I really like what you said about hanging out, because whenever I have my buddies in Discord with me and I'm streaming, it's always so much easier.
You're more relaxed.
I really like that. I really like that advice. Thank you.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got like that's understanding and like you've kind of got a little bit of the magic there to like piggyback on what Tim said. Like if you hanging out with your friends is what makes you feel the most comfortable, getting to know your regulars who are there every day will give you that same feeling all the time, no matter how many people are there. Because like, oh, I got Sean 552 and he's here every day and he loves me and this is great and we're best buds. So you won't need to be so dependent on this on voice or physical interaction to sort of provide that comfort. You'll just get used to doing it that way. Might be like a little hack you could do to figure things out. As far as the internet, I mean, my best recommendation to anybody who's a broadcaster is to get a business line. Get business internet. It might cost a little bit more, but you're not. And it might still be shitty, like my internet is sometimes. But it's worth it because you get priority access to whoever. Like if you're doing residential, you're getting the same bullshit response all the time. If you're doing business, they're going to treat you like a business, which means that if you have continuous problems, like they're going to escalate it quicker. They're going to send more people out there more often. And if you have to have somebody out there every single day for like 2 weeks, which I had to do that.
Man,
they're not gonna treat you like crap. Whereas if you're residential, like, I don't know, I've just had so many bad experiences with friends who had issues and they were on residential lines, and then suddenly they're blocked and they can't even call in and get their internet serviced anymore.
Yeah. If you could take a wild guess and figure out what day my internet started messing up, what would you say?
I don't know. Today?
It was the day D2 came out. The day D2 dropped.
Well, are you on Verizon?
No, I'm on Cable One. It is the only smaller town. It's the only choice I have.
Yeah.
They suck a butt.
Crafty has Cable One, and he has not had good experiences with them.
No,
I mean, the best thing you can do is, be open and honest with your viewers. Let them know what's going on. Let them know that you're doing everything you possibly can. And I mean, that's about it. You just have to be patient, and it sucks because it's out of your control. But as long as you can, stay patient and chill, it'll get resolved eventually.
I have some streamer friends that they actually have a secondary backup internet line. That they will use sometimes. So in case if their primary internet does crap on them, they can then switch over to another company. So it's a little pricey, but I mean, like you're your return on investment of the secondary line, your ROI on that is you get to continue streaming and making money. You're like you said, you're affiliated. You're actually you've got some momentum on your channel, and so any downtime is bad time for you. So in order for you to facilitate that, if your primary line is crapping out, you can always get a secondary line. That is a little bit more expensive, but that is something that I know that there's a couple guys that I know that do that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, if you've got the option, that's a great option.
Yeah, I think the business line is probably the best way to go because it's my entire area has trouble connecting to the hub.
Yeah.
And I know that the way they do their business line, it's a completely different
different architecture and engineering behind it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be our recommendation. Get a secondary backup line if you could. I've always had one until I moved here. LOL. But and then get a business line and call every day. Be the biggest asshole you can be, because if it's getting in between you and your dream, it's worth being a dickhead about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Anything else we can do for you?
Man, I mean, everything sounds great. I can't really ask for too much more. I appreciate you having me on.
Excellent, man. Well, I wish you nothing but success, and I hope that you continue growing and you get your internet shit fixed.
All right. Before I leave, I want to say one thing. Watched the Speakeasy last night.
Yeah.
And my wife watched it with me, and we thoroughly enjoyed watching Tim just get the bricks all night long. It was great. It was fantastic. Every now and then, Goth would just turn around and just say, "Shut up, Tim," and y'all had us rolling. So
that's the relationship.
Everybody, every group of friends needs a Tim, So thank you for being. I want to say thank you for them to you for being that guy.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll take it.
Hey man. All right, appreciate you guys. I'll hop out.
All right, man. You have a good day.
All righty, man. Thank you.
All right. Let's get Tim, do you recognize any names in here from your channel? Because I really want to get somebody from your channel if we can, because I think that'd be
check please TY.
Check please TY.
That's Mike. He's been a long time subscriber.
All right. What's up, check please TY?
Oh, hello. Is this thing on?
Hello.
Yeah, you're You're on, bud. What can I do for you?
Well, my question is, you guys can answer this either a streaming perspective or like your personal gaming perspective. But
sure.
Do you think AR or VR is the future if you had to pick one?
Oh man. I mean, I'll go first. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Okay, cool. So I think it's both, and haha, fuck you. I think that AR is going to be big sooner. I mean, it's already happening with Pokemon Go. Like that is proof positive that AR is something that people want and are looking into heavily. Like, Apple's already developing an AR headset that's scheduled to launch, I think, in 2019. I don't think VR is going to take off for a while. I think that it's just not quite there yet still, which is nuts because I think a lot of people write VR off because it's been not quite there for 2 decades, going all the way back to the Virtual Boy.
Yeah.
But once VR is not cumbersome anymore, it doesn't require like a whole room in your house or a ridiculous ass headset or whatever. I think it will take off. So I think AR is happening, and I think VR is it needs some more time.
Do you think one is better for streaming than the other, or will be once it's fleshed out?
Man,
I think VR would end up being the better for streaming. I don't think there's any way that you could really facilitate an augmented reality like media or content creation on Twitch, like unless you have like camera crews and stuff following you around.
Yeah,
at least I can pipe in what I'm seeing into my VR goggles.
Yeah. I think
I think VR is going to be more accessible for streamers.
I think that VR will as well. I think that there's a whole, and if you want to think long term, if you're a business person and you're listening, there's going to be a whole suite of necessary like adaptations that are happening inside of that streaming environment. Like for example, like you won't be able to read your chat. Like you won't be able to see your Discord or call out subs or however shit works in the future. So apps that drive or give access to interactivity in a VR environment are probably going to be incredibly important for creators.
That's one of the big reasons why I haven't wanted to stream yet, is because they just have not been able to facilitate my needs as far as a streamer.
Yeah.
There's some plugins that are there that work with some games, but not all games. And so how can I do what I do on a daily basis within a game that does not allow me to do that?
Yeah, if you can't see chat, like that's a problem.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
Most of the really good VR streams I've watched always involve two people. One person's interacting with chat, one person's playing the game. They have like a proxy right now. Eliminating that proxy is going to be key to making VR successful in the long term for creators, I think.
Yeah. No, totally agree.
All right. Any follow-ups for us?
No. Sweet. Thanks, guys.
Wow, no follow-ups. Wow, what a nice guy. Have a good one, bro.
All right, you too.
See you, dude.
Just rocking and rolling, man. Rocking and rolling. I love it. Let's get Sky Knight Nerd. He's got a helmet. He's like a little helmet guy. A little sneaky, like an astronaut. Astronautadu.
It took me a second to figure out that you were actually looking at their Discord.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Sky Knight Nerd.
It's Night Sky Nerd.
Night Sky Nerd. Yeah. I read it right because I didn't fuck it up at all.
You can read.
Night Sky Nerd. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. How are y'all?
I'm great.
I'm having a great Friday.
Freaking.
Oh my goodness,
I think I'm gonna have pizza for dinner, so that's exciting.
I'm jealous.
Pizza's yummy.
That's really good. All right, enough about food. What can we do for you?
Okay, so this is, I guess, a little bit different. So I'm not the streamer, but my boyfriend is.
Ooh.
So, first, I guess, question is, as the, I guess, significant other of a streamer, what is the best thing that one can do to support them?
Okay.
Oh. That's a good question.
I
like that one.
That's a good question. Do you have any ideas, Tim?
I mean, I think understanding what their aspirations are and like what they're trying to achieve, and just sympathizing with them in that regards, and not pressuring them to also, like, if your boyfriend is very, very passionate about being a streamer, and then you also have a significant other that also wants them to have all the attention that you would normally have, like, if you guys are very used to having like a set amount of time for you and him to hang out, but if that time would help him to stream and to grow his channel, and you understanding that and allowing that to happen, and maybe compromising, maybe having another time for you guys to hang out, I think like that's huge. So just being able to support him in that way of really just time, and just understanding that, hey, this is something that he's really passionate about. I think that's really what it is. It's just giving that support, and then just that him knowing that you are there along with him is really, really important. If like that's what my wife did for me, and honestly, I wouldn't be here today streaming if it wasn't for my wife just giving me that emotional support that I needed when I had a bad day, or when I really wanted to stream. If I wanted to do a night stream, and that would have conflicted with something that we wanted to do, or our normal hangout time, but she knew that I really, really wanted to do this, and she was okay with that. I think that right there is just huge. So just allowing that time to happen, and just being there, just being there for him when he needs you, is huge.
I would agree with that. Before we go any further, I wanted to let you know that tonight, my wife and a whole bunch of other broadcasters that I work with, or content creators that I know of, my wife is getting together with all of their wives, and they're doing a podcast tonight.
The astronaut wives, but it's the streamer wives.
Yes, exactly. So they are doing they're doing a podcast. It's called 3 Minute Break. The point of the podcast is sort of addressing your question, like what is life like on the support side or the opposite side of the stream. So I would definitely recommend tuning into that. That is going to be 9 p.m. tonight. Sorry, everyone who's listening later. 9 p.m. tonight on the channel is Miss Dr. Lupo. So it's Lupo's wife's channel. Yeah, so that'll be cool. I would I mean, everything Tim said. And then on the flip side, I would also say no, one of the big things that every broadcaster that I know has a problem with is knowing how to turn off. Some people have mastered it and they're great at just disconnecting, but it's something that I have always needed support with. Is sometimes I'm spiraling or I'm hyper focused and I need a little bit of pushback to be like, okay, like you did enough today and you need to chill out because it's bad for you. Not even like from the perspective of like, you're ruining my time right now, so can you please stop being such a workaholic? It's just like, you're clearly not in a good space. And for me, I've always needed a little bit of help. And I guess this is something I didn't realize I needed until I met Amy. When we started getting serious and she was becoming a bigger part of my life, she would start providing that pushback when she got to know me. I'd be like, just talking and talking and talking. She'd be like, it's going to be okay. Relax. Yep. So, being fully supportive and understanding, but also helping, if you see negative behaviors showing up that are actually going to be detrimental long-term to folks, your emotional or physical well-being, being able to have a good enough relationship and step in and say, like, let's take a break, let's take a day off. Like, you need to step back from this, because when you're in the shit and you're focused on whatever it is that you want to do, when you're chasing your dream, sometimes you can lose perspective and other parts of your life will fail or suffer because of that. And, one of the best things you can do to support is be there to prevent that from happening.
I think one of the things that Amy just does for me sometimes is that I'm guilty of just always being on my phone and just taking my phone away from me, and just like if we're at dinner or something and she will just put it away and she's like, no, you need to take a break. Shouldn't be on that right now.
Take a break. Yeah.
And so, and just remind, and that I definitely have to agree with Broman, is just reminding your significant other that it's okay. Like you don't need to always be working. Like it's okay to just take a little bit of time for you and for him, so that your relationship stays healthy. Because that was definitely one thing that I had a problem with, is that I started doing too much and our relationship started to suffer because of that. Now, keep in mind, we had been dating for a long time. We were already married, and there was issues starting to pop up because I was spending so much time in what I was doing that I wasn't focusing on us and continuing to grow our relationship at the same time. So yeah, it's a juggling act on both parts, not just on him, but it's also on you as well, on the significant other of the streamer, to make sure that like that balance is still there.
And this is easy. This is a genderless conversation as well. Like,
sorry. Yeah.
Like we're talking to her, but like that's like this conversation goes both ways for anyone who's like it's not like if you are a guy and your girlfriend is a streamer, she's going to deal with the exact same bullshit and some things that we don't have to deal with constantly. And your ability to help with that, help your partner, help your significant other is huge. And intervening when necessary is big. I just wanted to put that out there, not like,
Oh yeah.
It's just dude streamers.
Like only guys stream. I think it's important for everyone listening to know that the best thing you can do is to be as supportive as possible. Sometimes that means pushing, and sometimes that means, pulling a little bit. For sure. Any follow-up questions we can do for you?
Actually, I have a few different questions.
Sure. I love it.
So a lot of streamers, because I love listening to Ask Broman, by the way. Like I listen to it at work and stuff. So, because I like learning about streaming, even though I'm not. Yeah. Anyways,
that's cool. No, that's
great.
A
lot of people say, "Oh, I've come back after a long hiatus," and stuff like that. and I didn't retain anything. But,
Sure.
Specifically in this case, it's going to be a surgery in the future. We don't know exactly when.
Okay.
But it's and he'll probably be out for like 2 months.
Woof.
So what would you recommend, or we don't know, but what would you recommend to, I guess, try and retain that, knowing that sort of gap is coming?
Ooh.
That's 2 months is a long time.
Yes.
Prep, continuous prep, so that everybody knows, everyone in his community knows that there's going to be a break, right? Make sure everybody knows, and then make sure they know that they know, and then make sure that they know that they know that they know. I had a countdown, 150 days every day on my stream, counting down to my wedding, so that nobody would forget why I was gone. Second day of my honeymoon, my fucking Twitter was, Broman, where the fuck are you? Legitimately, after a year. And like, this is a year, half a year of me prepping people and like literally getting mocked. You're just putting this in your fucking title so people give you money because you're getting married and you're just trying to exploit your wedding. And I'm like, no, I'm doing this so that I don't go insane when I take a break. Because I wanted to be focused on my wife and my honeymoon and all that other stuff. So I did as much prep work as I possibly could, and it still wasn't enough. But I felt like I did my due diligence, so it didn't hang over my head. So prep everybody, and then so that's on the front end. And then when you're in the shit and you're dealing with it, focus on that. Focus on whatever the surgery is, getting better. And then when you return, make it a celebration, right? Make it a big deal that the channel's coming back online. And that whatever was going on is, fixed and everything's better, hopefully, because that's, you want to give people a reason to come back and remember why they liked being a part of that community. That's what I got. A lot of people are probably going to suggest things like, using vodcasts, but I think over that long of a time scale, it would be ineffective, and it might actually provide like a negative effect where people are like, oh, this is just the vodcast channel, I'm never going to tune in here again.
Or it would like redefine, I guess.
Or you could read, best case scenario, it redefines is like, this channel isn't live, but I like watching. Worst case scenario is I'm not going to watch this anymore because it's never actually live. But if his community's got like highlights and everyone's like, oh man, I really loved his whatever playthrough, like setting that up on a playlist, or something like that, and making those, events worth tuning into. So the channel's, kind of live on a relatively regular schedule. Like, I could see how that would work. This is sort of where the creative side of things come in. There's a lot of things that you can do with the downtime. You just need to make sure, I guess my caution is, don't overdo it with vodcasting while you're out of town. And then make sure you stay active in all of your other social media stuff as well, like Twitter, Twitch, Instagram.
And that's what I wanted to suggest, is find other outlets and staying connected with the community. If you can't stream, there's a reason why the stream can't happen. Then maybe, being active on Twitter or posting Instagram pictures, ways that he can still connect with his community outside of Twitch and still kind of let them know that he's still there doing his thing. And he will be back. I think that's like utilizing other outlets is definitely a very good idea.
Key. There you go.
Great. Sorry.
No, it's all right. There's a lot of information.
Yeah. Okay. One last question. Hopefully this is a quick one. If that's
doesn't
okay.
matter. I like long questions.
So secure, I guess digital security. So since digital age and stuff like that, and stuff like, how would you recommend, I guess, staying secure?
Sure.
I guess privacy as well.
Privacy's hard. Make sure that none of your personal accounts are attached to any of your business social stuff. It's like step one. Like, I basically stopped using Facebook for 4 years until I got married, and then I made an entire new account that isn't associated with anything I do on Twitch. So that's huge. As far as cybersecurity, I mean, like, just follow all the normal cybersecurity practices. Don't try not to, operate with intelligence and try not to get yourself, scammed or phished.
Yep.
If you're really concerned, setting up a VPN on your home network so people can't find you even if they want to is something that you can do. It's something I had to do for a while because I was getting DDoSed and threats like on a regular basis. So I just needed to sort of hide my whole footprint for a while as much as I could, until I moved. And then, I did it for a few more months, and now I don't have to have it. I don't feel the need to be as incredibly secure, but it's just, all the same traditional best practices. If you take pictures, make sure there's not like street signs and stuff in the background. It sort of kills the fun and spontaneity of life sometimes.
Yeah.
But if security is a concern, you sort of have to accept that.
Well, one thing that I have done is I don't use my home address for any mail or things like that. Anything business related actually goes to a PO box. It goes to something that's completely separated from where I live, so that I don't have to worry about a potential swatting or things like that. I actually had a malicious pizza order sent to my apartment.
Nice.
So someone ordered $200 worth of Pizza Hut pizza, and said that I would pay with cash. And that was a terrifying experience for me because that had never happened to me before. So someone found out who I was and where I lived and things like that. And so now I've tried to take the precautions for that not to happen again. And so you can actually use UPS. UPS actually does a physical address box that you can use, and so you can use that physical address for everything. It's not a USPS PO box.
Not a PO box,
yeah. PO box does not actually have a physical address, but a UPS box does, and so you can use that for all your business and whatnot. So that's what I do, and I think that's it's a great thing that people should do if they're a streamer. Don't use your personal address. Use a secondary address for all your business documentations and things like that.
Fucking smart.
Great.
It's really good.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I hope nothing but the best for you and your guy. Do you want to shout him out anywhere? Let everybody know who your guy is.
Yeah, sure. So he's on Mixer, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, basically everywhere. And it's Dr. Dusk PhD with underscores. So it's DR_DUSK_PhD.
Nice.
Dr. Dusk I like his name. That's a good name.
Yeah, he really likes it.
Yeah,
So,
he should. It's fucking killer. I like that he's on Mixer too. Smart moves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Very, very smart.
I mean, actually, he started like last week.
Sure.
Because honestly, he wanted to become a streamer, but he didn't really know how to start. And then this whole Broman thing started up, and I was like, dude,
Just listen to this.
just listen to this. And like, I've been listening
Bullshit.
to it.
That's wild. That's 100% at the heart of why I do this. That's really, really cool. Thank you for sharing that. Oh man, that's so warm and fuzzies now. Yeah, Mixer's a good call. If he's not doing it already, you should have him look into streaming on Facebook too. Facebook Live.
Yeah, it's
The problem is he's streaming from console right now, so it's more just an equipment upgrade.
Yeah,
So
just Mixer for now is great. It's
I've been looking into all the stuffs.
Yeah,
so
she's awesome.
What a support structure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime. Make sure you tune into the ladies podcast tonight as well.
I will. Thank you so much for letting me know about that.
Anytime. You have a great day.
You too.
All right,
Thank
bye.
you. Bye-bye.
She was great.
Yeah, she was awesome. I like her. She's very supportive.
That's a killer set of questions. And you can really tell when when somebody's like actively thinking about a problem as opposed to just like they thought about it for 1 minute.
I like that. That was good. Those are some really deep questions.
Yeah,
So it was fun.
vulnerable. I feel all exposed. All right, let's get one. Do you have anyone else in there that you recognize, Tim, from your channel?
Amy Cakes? I think Amy Cakes.
Amy Cakes?
I think so.
Where is
Pretty sure.
where is that at? I can't find.
I Amy Cakes?
Oh, I can't spell, dude. Oh my God.
Oh.
Hi, Amy Cakes. I'm horrible. I was like, what? I was staring in there with my dyslexia brain. Oh no, she panicked.
Oh, she's back. She's back now.
No, she's I'm just up. This is the best part of listening to the podcast. Let her. Hi, Amy Cakes. She's gonna get it. Or he. I have no idea. They're gonna get it.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh. That's
So we're getting talk back through your headphones right now. Just so you know, this is fun. This is great. I like this. I love really weird tech problems. Still getting our talk back going on. It's a little bizarre. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Right. Yeah. This is fun. This is fucking great. Maybe you could try selecting a different microphone source, Amy Cakes. It's like a completely different one. Sometimes some USB headphones do a loop back bullshit, and so like it's actually listening to its own talkback setting. It's weird, but it happens.
Or
We're gonna get there.
Messing around with your sound card and looped things back.
Yep. Yeah, so you guys are hearing the loop back is what you're hearing. I thought I was on the call for a second because I was hearing double. I mean, it's all right. Amy Cakes, the other thing you can do is you can disconnect Discord and you can restart Discord, and sometimes that'll fix it as well if you want to give that a try. Your spot in line is held.
So are the girls all excited for tonight?
I think they are.
Good. Fun.
I think they're very excited, and a little. Amy's like, she's like excited, but like also like, I don't know how this is gonna go.
But that's the fun of it. Like that's the cool part of like starting things up like that is you don't know where it's gonna go.
Yeah, you don't know where it's. I had no idea where this was going when I started it up. I was like, well, this is the stupidest fuck idea, and everyone's gonna fucking hate me, and they're gonna think I'm a self-righteous prick for trying to help other broadcasters. Oh, this guy knows everything, huh?
Oh.
That's what I was worried about.
I mean, but unfortunately, that's a reasonable fear to have,
right?
In the space that we work in.
Yeah, folks are you're always worried that the perception of you trying to do good is really just the self-serving bullshit.
Yeah.
I try and stay away from the self-serving bullshit. All right, Amy looks like she's back in there. We're gonna give it another try. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna edit this so hard later. Hi, Amy Cakes.
How about now?
Yeah. Bravo.
You're a fucking champion.
Sorry, I've been recently messing with voice meter, so trying to get the hang of that. Yeah.
Voice meter will loop
powerful
back.
Tool.
It will loop back on you hard.
Yeah. So it's been doing pretty good for my stream lately, but I guess since I restarted the computer and having to change the virtual cables constantly, so yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. So all right, what can we do for you?
Okay, so question for both of y'all. What made you decide to create a theme or not have a theme for your channel? I know Tim has Darkness, Dark Side, and you, Broman, you're kind of you. So I wanted to know what kind of made you decide whether to do it or not to do it.
Cool.
Do you mean like so are you asking as to like how did we come up with the idea of our brand, and like how do we have that almost that persona online? Like how did we create that? Is that the question?
More or less, yes. So, I know like you started with your handle Darkness.
Yeah.
And did you decide to, really develop that brand with the Dark Side from the beginning, or was this something that kind of came on, later on as you started to stream and build, your followers, or from your followers? So.
Yeah, I mean, so for me personally, I honestly had no idea what the heck I was doing when I first started streaming. Like I didn't know what was happening. I was kind of just like going off the beat of what other people were doing on Twitch, and just kind of like trying to figure that out and how do I make that my own? And so like the whole Dark Side thing was me trying to come up with, how do I call, like what do I call the group of people that are supporting me? Like what is this? And so people are like, well, you like Star Wars, your name's Darkness, the dark side, that works. And I actually, it was the community that made that theirs. And so I kind of like went with that. And honestly, if anything, I've tried to turn my brand into me. Like Time was something that fans made for me. Like they started calling me Time in chat, and that's what it was. And so honestly, I've actually just owned that more than anything else. Like Darkness is now just become a gaming handle. Like that is my gaming handle I've had since I first started gaming on PC. And so I keep that because that's a part of me. That's who I am. But if anything, my brand is more so tailored around me, like Time. And so that just was kind of an evolution. So to answer your question, that was not something that I started out with. It was something that kind of just evolved as I went along. I hope that answers your question. It's weird. I feel like you've got people who are like Dr. Disrespect. They have a character. They've owned this character. They've created this persona. And then you have people who I would assume even like Broman and like myself, they've kind of just they're them. Like you are your own person. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like I rambled.
No. So, and I know Broman hasn't answered, but I'm kind of going through that myself. I don't necessarily have a brand, and my handle isn't as creative as yours is, so it's just a runoff of my name.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but you can own that.
True.
Like Amy Cakes, like even your name, like you can own that and turn into your brand. Like I feel like people find fun and automatically I feel like with cakes, like do you like to bake? Like is there baking things associated with that? Like I feel like you can really do some really fun things with it.
Definitely. I mean, that part of defining your brand is being responsive to your community. I actually tried really, really hard because I felt like I had to do that. Right in the beginning, I was like, "Welcome to the Bro Force," and then it was like the Bro Force, and then I think I've had 100 different names for people who have come on and subscribed to my channel, like "Welcome to the Yeah Daddies," But
that's a part of Twitch culture.
Yeah, constant. Yeah, but see that. So for me, I felt like I had to do it, right? Like I had to define a name for the group of people that supported me, right? I felt like I had to, like it was a fucking rule. And Fat Nash, Bromerica, yeah, now they're all coming back to me. Like I felt like it was a rule that I had to stick to, and the reality is the best thing you can do is let the people who support you self-define how they want to identify as their community, because that's going to be what's the most organic. But for me, it always felt forced.
Yeah.
Which is why it changed so much, because I just like to go where my mind takes me. And if I really, really like a joke, I just want to hammer it until it's dead. And then I want to move on to the next one. The thickness. I'm just remembering all the different things that I called my subs. For me, I don't really think that I sort of came into my own on a branding side of things on my stream until I realized that I need to be me and yep. I am my brand. And for some people that works. Like for me, that works. And when I try and do something else, for me, again, I feel like I need to say 100 times. For me, it comes across as gimmicky. Like I'm shoehorning it in there or I'm forcing it, right? But for other people like Dr. Disrespect or anyone else, Kevin, K Magic 101, welcome to the Magic Kingdom, and everything about that, that fits with his personality. So I think the biggest thing that you can do when you're defining your brand is to sort of make sure you're basing it around yourself. And if you're the kind of person that identifies really, you like branding and everything needs to fit and it needs to be all tied up with a nice bow and you want to have everything named the right way. That's definitely that's great, but don't feel like you have to do that. You can do whatever the fuck you want. It might be different and people might not understand it at first, but that's okay. Because in the long term, that might be what sets you apart. Brand wise.
You keep on saying what works for you. And I feel like that's what a lot of people need to realize is
Yes.
that everyone is different on Twitch. Like that's why when I get the question of, hey man, how do you grow your stream? Or like, how do you grow viewership? And it's like, what works for me is probably not going to work for you. You know, you need to find out what works best for you and your brand and how can you own that? Because how I own something is going to be completely different. How Broman owns it, or how Goth owns it, or how Major Revolver owns it, or whoever it is, whatever they're doing, they are going to be able to make something their own very differently from how I do what I do. And so that's what a lot of broadcasters, not even up and coming broadcasters, just broadcasters in general, need to figure out is they need to stop trying to replicate. You can tell when someone is replicating something and they're not making it their own. They're not trying to make it work for them. They're just trying to replicate because they saw it work for someone else.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between like trying to like emulate and then just overall just replicating that.
Yeah. Like evolving and adapting.
And really just changing it and making it yours.
Yeah.
Not his or hers.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. So smart.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's great. That's awesome. You know, it's definitely really hard trying to figure out who I am within this community. I don't really bake. My name just kind of came off from one of my high school friends. So I get asked that a lot. Do you bake? Do you like
bake? Do you like cakes?
But that's a good thing that you could own. Like, you could do a cooking stream, or you could do something that
like, I fucking hate cooking, but let's go. What's up? It's Amy Cakes, and this is Fuck This Goddamn Steak. Welcome to Burn a Pop-Tart with Amy Cakes. Like, you know, 100%.
Oh, that's awesome. That's interesting. You know, I've been so terrified that I felt like I was going to have to be forced to run with the whole baking thing just because that's what people think of. And I don't want to do that. You know, I drink beer, you know, that's what I mainly talk about most of the time on my stream. And people are like, beer and cake?
At the end of the day, it's just a name. You know, yeah. It's you. You are behind the name, and that's what matters the most. Like, that's what's going to speak loudly is not the name. Like, the name is just something that is just someone's going to use to remember you by. It's the face and the actions that are attached to that name that are going to speak louder than just your name yourself. So don't focus on that too much, like, because then you're just going to stress yourself into oblivion, and that's not going to be fun.
I mean, like, even with the beer thing, and I just thought of this, like, being a contrarian is great on Twitch. Like, it's hilarious. Like, every time I lose in Fortnite, I'm like, God, what a fast win. You know, like, it's just like, you're just purposefully being a bullshit artist, and like, it becomes an inside joke. So if you love beer, like, you could just call it cake.
Oh,
like, you just call it cake. Yeah, you'd be like, tune in, we're having some new cake tonight, and everyone's like, yo, what cake are you doing, Amy Cakes? And you're like, well,
oh my God.
You know, I got this Michelob Ultra right here, and it's definitely my favorite kind of cake. You know, or like I got this Elysian Space Dust IPA. It is definitely one of the best cakes I've ever had. The alcohol volume in this cake is amazing. And like, that joke, that inside joke for your channel is such a strong brand identifier that it transcends Twitch. Like, that's a funny fucking joke that you could go anywhere with.
Would you be okay if I ran with that?
Yeah, fucking
that is
steal
amazing.
that shit. I wouldn't give you the idea. No, steal that shit.
That's awesome. Well, oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. I appreciate it.
If beer is cake, call my ass Betty Crocker. See, like, it's like there are so many people that love beer just as much as other people love cakes. It's great. Yeah. So you can define everything, even language, because you're literally creating. You can redefine everything to suit your needs. That's part of like the magic of creating anything. So take that, like, run with it. Run with the idea of, like, you can do whatever the fuck you want with anything you want. It's your world, and you get to define it.
That's awesome.
It's a good
That's
tagline.
awesome.
It's
Yeah.
a really good tagline.
Oh, thanks.
I like it.
Anything else we can do for you?
Well, I had a follow up, but I think you guys might have already answered it. It was just if y'all saw any significant boost from deciding whether you wanted to have a brand or to not, but both of y'all said what y'all decided worked for y'all. So
Yes,
I've answered it.
I think that I don't. I think that that's one of those common. It's common knowledge, but it's incorrect. Oh, having really strong whatever fucking fancy overlays and boopty bipty shits and fucking like welcome to the whatever squad. It like oh yeah, that pulls people in. It doesn't. Again, being authentically yourself is what's going to win long term. And all that other shit's bells and whistles. It's expressions of someone else's personality that ring hollow if you do them. So again, it just has to be true to who you are.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, and again, guys, to and gals, to follow up, like, it's about being authentic. And if you are a massive goddamn meme lord and all you ever want to do is meme all day and everything about your channel is a meme and it's like just it's gimmicks on top of other gimmicks that are having baby gimmicks, but that's who you are, everyone will fucking love you. They will love you. Some people will hate you, but most people are going to appreciate the hell out of that. But if I were to do something like that, or Tim were to do something like that,
oh hell no,
everyone would be like, what the fuck happened to Tim and Broman? Like, their channels used to be so good and now it's just like cringe all the time. So that's authenticity is what matters. And to sort of follow up with something that Tim said while we were in there talking, there, like, don't copy anyone. But finding broadcasters that match your delivery style and your approach to things and learning from how they handle situations is it could put you miles ahead of everyone else. So, like, take time to find someone who has a similar style as you, to sort of get comfortable with the idea of like, oh, this is a way I could deal with this. It makes you feel like you're not as alone. It helps maybe unlock some ideas in your head, unlock some approaches. It's just studying the craft. And long term, that can go it can go a long ways for you. But just don't straight up rip things off. That's fucking stupid. You have to make it your own.
Like people who use like face rigging. Like face rigging, I think is a great example.
Yes.
To have people continuously using the freaking Shiba Inu face. There are like at least 10 broadcasters on Twitch that have the exact same face rig, and I don't know who is the original one.
Yeah, exactly.
Like and it's not like I've used face rig, but it's not like it replaced my brand. Like I did it for fun because I thought it'd be funny to see my chat react to a dog talking on stream. But like that is their brand, is the face rig. And what's rough is when you are using something that everybody else has access to. And that is what has defined you on Twitch. So now it is very, very confusing.
It gets really confusing. It's tough. And before we move on, I missed letting Amy shout her stuff out, so I'm going to do it for her. It's twitch.tv/AmyCakes, AYMIE cakes. So go there and drink some cakes with her, okay?
Yes. Crack a cold cake.
Crack open a nice cold cake and just drink that shit. Oh my God. I just
smart.
want her to be
That's
the
why
most.
I love hanging out with you.
I want nothing but success for her because I want her to be on the front main page, like cracking open a cold cake with it.
Can you imagine that? You're like, I know that person.
Yeah. I think that's her. I could have just shouted out the wrong thing.
No,
case.
that was correct.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah, that was correct.
Yeah. All right. I love it. Let's grab we'll do one or two more. Let's grab this guy. Sinister Zin. I do not believe we've spoken to Sinister Zin before. Hello, Sinister Zin. How you doing? Maybe.
I mean, it'd work a lot better if I actually had my mic unmuted.
Ta-da!
It works really, really well, man. How are you?
Not too bad, actually.
Good. It's good to hear.
On the tail end of trying to mess with some audio stuff.
Coolio. The most fun.
Audio's the worst.
It's pretty magical because I'm running off of a really cheap headset. So my computer doesn't actually recognize it as an audio input. So times.
Fun times.
So I've got 2 questions, more directed at you, Probro, just because I don't know Timmy too well.
Sure.
Apologies on that. But
I'm sure
how
he'll
did
have some knowledge that he can shoehorn in there. I'm sure.
How did you end up deciding on like what your niche or your like key game is? Like, I know you play a lot of Destiny 1, Destiny 2.
Yeah.
But you also have these other games that come in. Like, how did you decide on this is the game my channel's mostly focused on and I'm going to run with it?
It's a decision after the fact. I'm a huge fan of like experimentation when it comes to creating, right? So when I started broadcasting on Twitch, I was in love with speedrunning. Like there was literally nothing in the whole world I wanted to do more than I wanted to speedrun every single day. And that's why during the first 18 months, I was streaming Borderlands 2 because I just connected with it and the runs, you know, doing that speedrun over and over again. It was so much fun. I was so connected to it. It pulled me in. You know, right around the time where I was really starting to sort of burn myself out on that because I was going a little bit too hard and I wasn't following my own advice of, you know, trying other things every once in a while. Destiny came along and I promised myself as light of an MMO as Destiny was, vanilla Destiny 1 was like definitely grindier than you know, the state of the game now. So I just accidentally played an MMO on my stream and I was like, well, fuck it. Like I literally can't do speedruns right now. Like I can't. So I'm just going to run with this. You know, we had a good premise going to Destiny 1. We wanted to try and get world first for Vault of Glass. And you know, so me and some of the Borderlands guys got together and my brother got in there and we shot to get world first and we didn't. We got 7th, but I fell in love with the game. And so I just, you know, it felt good to stream it. And I don't say like it felt good because I got good numbers. It felt good because I felt like it provided an avenue of interaction, like the way the game played fit with the way that I liked to interact with my chat. So when I say it was a decision after the fact, it was, I don't know how this game's going to play with my audience, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to do what I want to do with my audience with this game. But after Destiny came out and I played it for a while, I realized like, oh my God, this has a lot of the same, you know, systems in it, the same systemization as, you know, it's a looter shooter. So it's got all these elements in it that are kind of the same and it's got loops and it just made it really, really fun. And it was an easy transition for me. So that's kind of how I decided what to play. I always, long term, if there's an investment game, it has to be something that I find engaging, but also has enough sort of downtime or repeatability that I can interact with my chat on a very high level.
Sure.
So that's me. I'm really interested about Tim.
Yeah.
I want Tim's answer to this question. Sorry, Zen.
No, that's fine.
For me, when I first started streaming on Twitch, it was Titanfall, and even before I started streaming on Twitch, I've just always gravitated towards shooters. I like competitive shooters. I'm a very competitive person, and it's just always been my go-to style of game. It's just first-person shooters, and so for me, whenever it was deciding which game worked well for me, it was always shooters. Like that was my niche. I knew that was the thing that I wanted to own. Is that I wanted to bring high-level gameplay and teach people how to get better, because that's kind of what was happening. People were coming in and they were asking me all these questions. How do you do this? How is that happen? How are you able to do that? What did you just do there? And so I started trying to find out different ways of teaching my viewers on how to get better at these shooters. And so that was something that I really enjoy doing. I love talking to people, but I like teaching. I've done that with martial arts. I instructed classes. And so I like being able to pass that on. And so it made sense with gaming is that I would kind of make that a part of my stream, is just showing people how to play it at a higher level. and become better. And so that's what I've always done. Is like when new shooters come out, I always try to stream them, and if they stick and they work, well, then I keep on playing. Like Fortnite, it might not be a first-person shooter, but it's a shooter still, and it's still very competitive, and there are high-level skills ceilings when you really start diving deep into the game. And the same thing with like PUBG or with Rainbow Six Siege or even like Battlefield and Titanfall. They all have those higher-level skill ceilings that some people can hit and other people want to, or they achieve to hit at some point. And if you're able to teach them and show them how to get there, at least for me, it's worked out for my brand. Again, going back to owning what works well for you is going to be different for what works well for me. And so that was my personal niche.
Right.
There you go.
I'm coming off. Well, I'm still working on the affiliate program, which is really cool. Like
The new system's really neat. Yeah.
I really like the system here. You know, it gives you some set milestones, and some of them are a little bit more easily achievable than others.
Yeah.
Like the streaming, 6 unique times within a week or something like that, and it's stuff like that. But I guess for me, looking at all these other streamers going around, like the games that I really enjoy playing, because I'm an avid sci-fi kind of person, they don't really have a lot of Twitch presence, I guess.
Sure.
So that was kind of my worry there. It's that I won't really be able to get a channel up off the ground if I'm streaming something like that. But unfortunately, I'm starting off on a potato, so I can't really stream a lot of the newer stuff that's out at the moment.
I gotcha.
You'd be surprised with, some of the success stories on Twitch. I think Crafty's a great example. He streamed on his PlayStation 4 for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's a lot of people that have honestly have come from streaming with literally nothing to beginning to grow and use other tools. So I don't get bummed out about that. Like you bring more to the table than just that.
No, it's since I'm streaming off of my PC at the moment, it's just the frustration in that I'm trying to stream something like MechWarrior Online. And it'll hold fine for the first, 2 or 3 minutes of a match, and then for whatever reason, my ISP will just like crap out on me, and I'll start dropping 90% of the frames, and I feel so bad for the people trying to watch. That,
I get that.
It gets a little disheartening.
Yeah, I get that, and you just got to hold your head up, and you got to, again, like, this is you chasing your dream, and your ISP is in the way, and you need to call them every day and get that shit fixed.
Yeah.
You have so many tools at your disposal that we didn't have, like when I was getting started. You can go into your Twitch inspector and you can print out a log of your connection to a specific server with a 10-second tick rate as to what your upload was over time, the entire time you're broadcasting. And you can send that to your ISP and say, as you can tell from this graph, this is when shit's fucking up, fix it.
Right.
That's how that's how I have gotten my shit fixed every time.
I will definitely have to keep that on. And with, I guess, kind of tying back into the building of a brand, any sort of, I guess, early growing pains you guys had when you were growing your community, that it's like key things to watch out for if you've got like a disruptive person or anything like that. Because, like I said, I'm a fairly new streamer. I think I've been going for about a week now, and I don't really have many people. Of course, I've been changing up my schedule, trying to see what times work for, when people would be around or be interested. But is there anything like for a new content streamer that you would be like, hey, make sure this doesn't happen, or watch out for this kind of behavior?
Be patient, be kind. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. But then don't let people take advantage of you. Don't let your mods take advantage of you. Don't let your regular viewers take advantage of you. Don't feel like you owe anybody anything, because you don't. If someone wants to support you, that's completely voluntary. And if they come around on the back end and they try and make it feel like, well, I did this, so now you owe me, fuck that person. I dealt with a lot of that in the second year of my career being full-time on Twitch. A lot of it. coming out of speedrunning and starting to focus on Destiny 2, a lot of people felt like they owned me.
Right.
Because they had supported me for so long as a speedrunner, and now I'm not. So like they wanted all their fucking money back, or they just wanted their fucking pound of flesh from me. And
which is kind of sad.
I mean, listen, I have nothing but compassion for them. I understand why you would act that way, think that way. Like, I get it. You know, it doesn't make it not shitty, but I get it. So I don't blame them for being human. But I would just recommend to you and anyone else as your community's going, there are people out there that might try and be a little bit predatory with their relationship towards you, whether that's trying to take advantage of your emotions, anything like that. You just need to keep your ear to the ground. And if while you're growing, something that someone in your community is doing is making you uncomfortable, either cut off that relationship or just stop interacting with them, or letting them in your channel. In the short term, it's going to hurt, but in the long term, you're going to keep yourself safe and sane.
It's hard as a broadcaster, at least for me. It's hard for me as a broadcaster to not have a sense of care, I guess, when it comes to
that's
each
totally
individual
true.
person. And it's
Yes.
hard. It's hard to have that disconnect where, let's say, a longtime subscriber comes in and says something that you were not expecting. It's like, hey, I had one subscriber that sent me a message that, hey, you're no longer fun to watch because of X, Y, and Z, because you changed the game, or because of of this. Yeah, and that hurts. But at the same time, you have to, because at least for me, like I want everyone that is supporting me with their hard-earned money to have a good time and feel like they are important. But at the same time, you also need to make sure that doesn't compromise all the other relationships that you have with everybody else.
Right.
And I think Broman makes a great point. Is like, don't let those people take advantage of you.
Yeah.
Don't let them bring you down, because all it's going to do is it's going to hurt you in what you're doing. You're
letting them control your long-term outcome.
Yep.
For a personal, chip on the shoulder, a social whatever. And like, right. I am an incredibly empathetic person. Like, I have cried because subs have sent me a letter and said some shitty stuff. Like, I've been there. It's really weird because I have a lot of empathy for people. But I've also been taken advantage of because of that, yep. on my come up. So it's just, you have to learn the warning signs of somebody who's trying to use you. And even if somebody's really well-intentioned and they really want to see your channel succeed, and they've been I've been a long time sub. I noticed you're doing some different things with your channel, and I'm really concerned that it might negatively affect your growth, blah, blah, blah. I really think you should just go back to blah, blah, blah. And if you would just blah, 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 I'd be happy to help you. All this other shit. Okay.
Right.
This is literally the message that I got. And I was like, no, like, I'm doing this. I need to do this. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but like, it's not going to change. And that was taken the wrong way, and shit got real bad, and it ate me up inside. But at the end of the day, like, you have to, it's your creation. You are the one creating, right?
Right. You kind of have to stay true to yourself.
You do. And it goes back to the authenticity thing. If somebody else starts controlling your channel that isn't you, you will lose the internal focus if you feel like you're not in control anymore.
Right.
It's like I said, it's tough because you want everyone who tunes in to like you, but the reality of that's an impossible dream. 5% of people are going to fucking hate you off the get, and they're never going to change your mind. A solid 15% of people that you meet in your life will never think that you're a good person because it's just statistically true. Right. And learning how to just sort of run with that and let the things let that shit roll off your shoulders so that you can focus on you long term. And if you need to be empathetic and externally focused, and you're looking for a win for the other person too, you cutting off that relationship is going to be beneficial for them in the long term too, because it's going to teach them a lesson, whether it's what they were doing was wrong, or that they were trying to live vicariously through you or whatever the fuck it was, there's something for them to learn by the ending that relationship or moving on. There's something that they can learn too. So you're doing a kindness to yourself and ultimately a kindness to them in that situation.
It's a lot of heavy stuff to think about.
Yeah,
I mean,
towards the end of that.
No, I mean it is, but it's that question in particular that you asked me is something I had to deal with so much, and I've had to think about it deeply because I need an answer. That's the kind of person I am. I need an answer or I need a conclusion, and until I have that, I'm obsessed. So
I understand that. I'm very much the same way, which is why I've been following you in particular, Broman, for the last, I don't know, 2 years and some change.
That's very kind of you.
Man, it's been a wild ride, watching your stream. Some days it's just like, okay, he's doing this. I could do that. I look at that and it's like, I can interact with people on this level. And then other days, it's just like, how does he manage the 1,000+ people he's got in chat? Like that just blows my mind.
You get used to it.
You really do.
And so, it's just, it's always been a great place to come hang out. Even the community, you'll get the occasional guy that comes in and just wants to be an asshat, but
you gotta love the
community
asshats.
itself is great. Like I love being part of the community here, and that's something that I'm aiming to build around my own. Like I don't have an actual direction yet. I'm just kind of all over the place at the moment, but it's experimental, trying to figure out what I can do, what I do best.
But that's the fun part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that is the really cool part of it all, is like the beginning of that journey and really having fun with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
so,
man.
Thank you guys
so
much.
You want to shout
out of your day?
Shout out your shit and let everybody know where they can find you and stuff?
I mean, it's the exact same name as I have on Twitch and Discord. It's Sinister_Zen.
All right. Zen is
pretty much
ZINN, guys.
Yes. I should have fixed that. My bad.
No, it's okay, man. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Have a nice rest of your day, though.
Anytime, dude. You as well. Whew. That got serious at the end.
But I think that's something that everyone needs to think about. Is that because that happens every day, and a lot of the time you won't see it in chat. A lot of that happens behind closed doors or behind the scenes in DMs or a Twitch message or a whisper, and broadcasters won't talk about it because it can get kind of personal.
Yeah. I am just now able to talk like level-headedly in this past year about, that person and transitioning, my content from one sort of basis to another without getting really mad or upset, because it cuts really deep when someone that you think you have a great relationship with just basically tries to either own you or tell you to fuck off or that you're a piece of shit. This doesn't feel good.
No.
But it's out there, and protecting your mental health from people who are trying to fuck it up is so important when what you're doing by investing so much energy into just creating something. It's so important.
That is, I think, honestly, I don't know if you've done an episode on that, but mental health for streamers is a huge thing.
I want to do like a round table
forget about that
at some point in the future about that. That's another plan I have for the podcast, to bring on some people and do like a round table discussion about X, Y, or Z. Because it's just it's like mental health, and mental health, finances, taxes, growth, dealing with trolls, like there's so many things that really need a breadth of people to fully discuss, and I think that's a good idea, Tim.
Yeah.
God damn it. Holy shit. All right, guys. I know we're kind of ending the podcast on a heavy note, but I think that's good. It'll leave y'all something to think about going forward up until the next one. And I always think it's good to get a little bit serious every once in a while and just let it sit there. So for the podcast side of things, we are going to wrap it up. I'd like to say a special thank you to Tim, my guest. You can follow him anywhere on the internet at Darkness429. Please do. He's a great guy. He makes great content. He's a wonderful human being, and he's a top-notch beard haver. His beard is just killer.
Oh my!
He's got a great beard. So until next time, guys, if you're listening out there, thank you for spending any of your time with us today. We really appreciate it. If you could rate the podcast or share it with your friends, you would become an even greater friend of mine, and I would appreciate it. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.